All right, welcome back to the channel. So Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury is going to be the subject matter of this video, and Eddie Hearn giving a warning to people that are going to buy the fight that Tyson Fury is not ready for the fight. Apparently, he's massively overweight according to other people's reports. Let's talk about that red herring in this video. All right, welcome back to the channel. So there's an excellent fight coming up. Deontay Wilder versus Tyson Fury is the third and more than likely final fight between the two guys. I'm certainly hoping that it's a very, very good fight. As people familiar with the channel know, I am definitely rooting for Deontay Wilder, and definitely believe he's going to have a much better performance than the second fight and the first fight. So I'm looking forward to a really, really good fight. Eddie Hearn, on the other hand, who's a promoter, runs Matchroom Boxing, isn't so sure and says that he doesn't believe that Tyson Fury is ready for the Deontay Wilder fight, that he hasn't had a proper training camp, that he's overweight, and all of that stuff, right? Now, while I do believe that Tyson Fury probably is overweight and there probably are some issues around the fight for Tyson Fury, like, he's not going to be able to cheat this time and he might be a little bit unsure about how he's going to go about winning the fight. But I'm not going to follow Eddie Hearn just because it's what Eddie Hearn says. I would love, because I'm not a fan of Tyson Fury. Honestly, I just think the guy's a cheater. I think that, all of this stuff that's going on with these blatant cheaters, still being praised in boxing and the media and the promoters acting like, for money purposes, like what's going on isn't going on. I don't think that they're good for the sport of boxing when you consider, really truly figuring out who the best fighters are, right? Because if you're constantly cheating, I don't really know how good you are. So even though I'm not a big fan of Tyson Fury at all, I want Tyson Fury to lose. I'm not going to go this route where I believe this stuff that Eddie Hearn is saying about Tyson Fury not being prepared for the fight. Tyson Fury is a lot of things. Tyson Fury is not stupid. Tyson Fury faked COVID in order to have an entirely different training, to have a second training camp to make sure that he was 100%. This fight was originally supposed to be back in July, and then, just weeks before the fight, Tyson Fury pulls out saying that he has COVID, when there's a bunch of reports going around that he's getting beat up in training camp. And there was something also that he said in a recent interview about being injury free, where, there's a chance that maybe there's something wasn't really right with him as far as an injury or something like that, and that might be why he pulled out of the fight on that, on the facade that the man had COVID. But I don't believe that Tyson Fury is going to do anything but get in there 100% ready to fight. He can talk all he wants, but he knows full well what happened to him in the first fight was that, he wound up, laying, on the ground 2 times. Well, one time with a knee and the other time flat on his back to Deontay Wilder. He knows that he is not, he can talk all he wants. He knows he's not undefeatable with Wilder, and he's going to be prepared for that. Eddie Hearn, when he says these type of things, is just doing what Eddie Hearn always does. And at least that's the way that I take it, which is try to find a reason and try to find a way to destroy somebody else's card. It's not enough for Eddie Hearn, his particular fights to do well. He also has to do addition by subtraction and constantly say bad things about other promoters and other people's cards, right, as a way to make it, to minimize it. And I think that Eddie Hearn is also probably a little bit jealous in this regard, because the fact of the matter is that Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury, as it stands this moment, are both ahead of his heavyweights, who have just both. Anthony Joshua, he just lost the ship with Anthony Joshua when he lost to Alexander Usyk. And this Dillian White guy that he's trying to push never really panned out. And they're really, it's a lot of smoke and mirrors over there in Matchroom Boxing with their heavyweights. A lot of, Sweet Caroline shows, a lot of, really nice fireworks, all of that good stuff. Press coverage is really good. You have Michael Buffer, one of the best guys in the world, in announcing the fight, giving you that old HBO feel. You got Roy Jones Jr., American Hall of Famer, calling the fight, making it, talking about Anthony Joshua and all that. But when you actually look what's going on in the ring, the product that he has in the ring, the fighters that he actually have in the ring are not as good as the two fighters that are going to be fighting when Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury get in the ring. And, despite the fact that there's going to be a lot of people trying to write off both fighters, no matter what happens, after that fight, you're still going to have the two best heavyweights in the world, and you're still going to have Eddie Hearn and guys over there in the UK absolutely doing their best to try to keep all their guys away from them. At least that's the way, the way that way that I see it. But as far as like what's going to actually happen in the fight, like I said, I believe Deontay Wilder has every chance to win this fight, especially if he changes his tactics and is a lot more active. Mike Tyson, just was recently in an interview and asked what Deontay Wilder needed to do to win. And he was like, look, man, Deontay Wilder's just got to go all out. Whether it's 5 or 6 rounds, if you get him, you get him. If you don't, you don't. But you got to go all out. You got to take it to this guy and really come in there like you're trying to get him out of there. And I think that that's the best route for Deontay Wilder. Really controlled aggression, right, with straight punches, body shots, and a lot of head movement, making Tyson Fury miss, keeping Tyson Fury on the back foot. Might even do a little bit of a Sean Porter with Tyson Fury, making sure that the fight is ugly. If his weight is up like they say it is at around 235 or 240, his physical strength, I do believe, is enough to grapple with Tyson Fury. I don't think Tyson Fury is a heavy dude, but I don't think Tyson Fury is necessarily that much stronger than Deontay Wilder, unless he's got his, rescue. Man, I'm telling you, every time I think about Tyson Fury, the main thing is I'm thinking, how can this dude cheat? And I'm like, yeah, there's a steroids issue with Tyson Fury as well. But, as far as the fight go, I think Deontay Wilder has an excellent chance to win. I don't think I've ever seen the man this focused. And honestly, some people are saying, you can't make adjustments, very, that quick when you get, a new trainer and all that. But if you look at how long this fight has taken to actually transpire, Deontay Wilder's, this is his third champ. I believe this is his third training camp with Malik Scott. The first one was when, Tyson Fury last year pulled out of the fight and claimed that the contract had expired. So Deontay Wilder and Malik Scott had that period of time to work together and start training and doing different things. The other one was, the second one before he just pulled out again. So he had another training camp, and now he's in this training camp. That's 3 training camps for Deontay Wilder to focus on Tyson Fury and come in with a game plan with Tyson Fury, which is different than the game plan that he was having before, which was just pretty much to wait around and wait for Tyson Fury, to show his chin and knock him out. Like Deontay Wilder would say, you need to be perfect for 12 rounds. I only need to be perfect for two seconds. He proved that in the first fight. The second fight was replete with cheating, in my opinion. And if Deontay Wilder is right about the water and all that, that's probably, he's going to have his legs and all that stuff for the second fight. So it's going to be good, man. But, one thing that I want people to take away from this, this fight or going into this fight is that, with all the war of words and all this stuff about people's career being over and this guy will never fight again. These two guys fighting are the best 2 heavyweights in the world. And no matter what happens, when these guys leave that fight, they're going to be able to beat the other guys. It's just going to be a matter of time till they get them in the ring and we get to see that happen. But, I'm really looking forward to the fight. Cheering big time for Deontay Wilder because of what happened in the second fight. But at the same time, I'm realistic. Tyson Fury is going to come in this fight prepared, in a lot of ways. Prepared, physically prepared. Also, cheating-wise, he's going to have tricks up his sleeve that are illegal that the ref is more than likely not going to call because, that's just what they do. But anyway, that's my take on the matter. You let me know what you think in the comment section. And with that, I'm out. Peace.